Your mission, should you choose to accept this one, is to watch this entire review, because welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode. In today's episode, probably think to yourself, why are you doing a review? Why are you saying, if you choose to accept this? It's because I'm doing a little fun retrospective video on the original 1996 Mission Impossible. As tonight I'm going to be watching The Final Reckoning. I might review it after I watch it. Depends how I feel, right? If I'm reading to go and really want to review it, or leave it to the next morning or something like that to process it better. Something like that. But anyways, today we're talking about the original film from 1996. There will be a few spoilers throughout the video, so if you've not seen the film, go and watch it. I decided to throw it on Now TV because it was there, and I was like, I have some time before I go to see the new one. So like, you know what? I've not seen the movie in a couple of years as well, might as well just turn this one on. So just so you know, for a bit of context, the Mission Impossible franchise has a very special place in my heart because it showcases how Tom Cruise can really up the ante with his stunts and tell this story where it has so much layers to it that when you get from one movie to the next movie to the next movie to the next movie, new characters get introduced, there's more going on, the stakes are higher than ever. Like, all of that's really good, but especially with the case of the original film, what you've got here is you have got this original piece of Mission Impossible. And so what you kind of have here is you've got Ethan Hunt and the IMF team, and they're trying to figure out there's something going on, something's going strange around this place in the world. But before you even introduce the characters, you get this whole thing about Kittredge, and he's introducing all of this, and you've got this guy called Jim. There's a lot going on in this movie, but then it does do this thing where it lets you understand everything as it's kind of unfolding. So you definitely got that. It's about an hour and 50 minutes long or something. And so let's just say this movie holds up. It has a special place in my heart still because it establishes this world, it establishes these characters, and it lets you understand what's going on, and it plays tricks with your mind where I actually forgot how unpredictable it is at times. Like, there's a certain way they do it, a certain thing a certain way. For example, like later on in the film, right, this is one particular thing, is that when they start to reveal the mask of who was behind the face of Jim and all of that, and how Jim like killed himself or whatever in this one scene in the movie, and there's blood all over his hands, but he actually didn't pass away. So that thing that's trying to play with your mind, like, all of that is really clever. So that when you get to the scene where Tom Cruise shows his face to the woman, it's like, yeah, that's absolutely what we're after. And they're just after $10 million on this like train sort of thing. And how the movie just really does a lot of this set up and build up of these characters is really good to watch. It's entertaining as well. Like, Tom Cruise is really in his prime here, where it's the first film. He's high on energy, he's ready to go, he's ready to do these stunts. And so I will say that the stunt where he's going to go like this, like he's just hanging about like that, there's a guy down there, there's on a computer, he's trying to secure this device sort of thing, and then they got to reel him back up, but then the knife drops, and like, oh no, the knife drops, and it still has an iconic impact to it because this was the first time you kind of saw this in the franchise. So you're like, oh, there's a knife that dropped on the table, and you're like, oh wow, we better not let the bad guys see us. And you see the bad guys spewing up through the toilet and all of that, and you get to feel like the characters are gonna persuade themselves to do this mission. And then the mission eventually goes wrong, because once you start to get to the end of the movie, right, you've got the character that's in the helicopter, you've got like the other guy, Jim, and they're on the top of the train. They actually pass away because, Jim unhooks when you're on a helicopter, you unhook a harness, right? He unhooks the harness, right? And then it becomes a situation where the helicopter kind of flies right into the train. Tom Cruise is right there, and you see the blade right on his neck, and it's like, oh wow. And then the guy on the train, the train conductor passes out, and you're like, wow, this is mind blowing stuff how Tom Cruise was able to do this. And these are just simple stunts, just an entertaining movie. While there's some pacing issues where you just feel like, it's taking so long, there's a lot of build up, there's a lot of things happening, and the iconic theme song from Danny Elfman, right, it's like dun 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 dun. Like, I was so engaged by the movie that I actually just let that entire theme song play it towards the end of the credits. Like, it starts off like dun 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 dun, like all of that. Just everything's really good about the movie. I'd probably just give it a 9 out of 10 though, because when you watch the movie back, it's like it does take a little bit longer to going than you kind of remember it does. But other than that, yeah, it's a really solid watch. I think it's still a really solid movie. It still showcases that it was, a product of its time in a good sense though, because it was a movie. The first time they done Mission Impossible, it was groundbreaking for the time that it came out, and I can appreciate it on that level. So that is my review of Mission Impossible, the 1996 film, and I hope you enjoyed this review, and hope you stay tuned for my review of the new Mission Impossible movie whenever I do that. I'm not going to re-review Dead Reckoning because I watched it last night and I kind of had similar things I said, and other times it kind of aged weirdly because obviously when you watch it at home it feels different. But I don't need to review that movie because we've already reviewed the film, and we're reviewing this instead because this is something I don't think I've actually reviewed on the channel before. But I'll still link down below my review of Mission Impossible 7, because back then that was my favourite movie of 2023. So there's all of that. Stay tuned for more reviews. Hope you enjoyed this one, and this video is going to self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.